Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Yes?
Jean!
Body spray's hot, boy. I can't take it.
Well, it's a good thing I called. The TDC Home and Building Depots are having their Cool 'em Down sale with 20% discount on fans, AC units, coolers, fridges, and more to beat this heat, girl.
Girl, Betty, you're making joke.
No! So stop sweating and let's go to the store now.
Ooh, you come pick me up, because may want to miss the sale at TDC Home and Building Depot.
Yeah, man. And don't forget you can also shop online too, using shoptdcgroup.com.
Cool.
Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
It's 4 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour here in the studios of WinFM 98.9, but I'm saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the many folks in the various time zones around the world, on the various platforms, viewing, listening. Welcome to another episode of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of today's program, and today we have a special guest in our studios in the person of Mr. John Francis, producer and owner of the Dance Beat Music, right?
Dance Beat Records.
Dance Beat Records, and today we'll be discussing, amongst other things, copyright issues. We want to say to Mr. Francis, once again, welcome to the studios of WinFM. You're no stranger here. No. But today we have a very scintillating topic that you are very, very poised to address. So, without further ado, I'm going to have you reintroduce yourself against the audience. Say, I am John Francis. I'm the big man, so-and-so. I will take it from there, okay?
Not so big. My name is John Francis. Born in Sadler, St. Kitts.
Do you know that?
Back of the land. Moved to England as a small baby, basically. And grew up in the UK. Second generation, actually.
Okay.
Came back to St. Kitts 2005.
Really?
It's a long time. So my music, talk about music. We're not here to give my biography, but maybe talk about music. I joined music, entered the music industry as a child, basically, in the church.
Okay.
Played drums in a band. Actually, I was about 13, when I first played drums. I didn't know what I was doing. I think some guys in the church saw me hitting a sofa.
And they thought, okay, there is a future drummer?
Yeah, so they went to my mother and said, hey, John can play drums. We wanted to come and play with us. So my mother said, okay. She bought the drum kit, and that was it. I was in the music industry.
Well, age 13.
13, and I've never been out of it since then.
Beautiful.
Did education, went to uni and all that stuff in the UK, and moved to London. And then, even before then, when I was at university, I started organizing music events, booking bands, talking to agents in London. Didn't know anything about what I was really doing. Signing contracts.
You were the producer?
No, I was then organizing parties.
Okay.
Not knowing what I was doing, basically, but still I did it, talking to agents in London, signing me contract. I didn't even know who I had to pay the salaries to. Do I pay the band? Do I pay the lawyers? I was walking down the street by my back. Somebody's going to catch me because I'm sure I owe somebody some money somewhere. But anyway, that was the early days. And then I moved to London and started managing bands. It was just a mistake. Again, all these things usually are. And set up my first label.
You're actually learning on the job.
On the job.
The best experience.
Actually, music business cannot be taught. The actual business of music cannot be taught. You can buy books these days. You can get online courses, but you learn when you get a lawyer's letter.
And you get sued?
And you get sued. That's you learn. You have to go and find a lawyer. You have to put your case. You have to look at what did you do wrong. You have to find a remedy. You have to have some agreement.
And you've been through all that?
Everything.
So
I've been to the High Court of London. I've been to the High Court of London. I was the original, manager of Steel Pulse back in the day.
Okay.
As a young boy.
That's what you call a big, you know.
Yeah, I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. I studied what I was doing. But anyway, I found this band and said, I'd like to manage you. I had a small label at the time.
You found Steel Pulse at that stage of the infancy and told them you'd like to manage them.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have a manager. I think they made one demo. And I made their first record. And then, of course, I knew about contracts, so I signed them up. Publishing, management, recording, everything. And I had a partner, another guy, like he's a Jamaican guy, and we had great ideas of having a big music business. He's also a university guy, and we thought, we're going to have a business. So we got all contracts, and we signed the band. And they became very popular, of course.
I dare say.
So I had to sue them.
You had to sue who?
Steel Pulse.
Steel Pulse?
Yeah.
Because they became popular?
Yep, they became very popular. And of course, the music business is called big fish eat little fish. That is the process of music business. So, of course, they became popular, and the big record companies wanted them. And they're going to get them. So I was kind of I speak good English, and they just call me English. They still call me English. They'll still call me English. And so I sued them. And to do that, I had to sue EMI, EMI Records, Sony Music, then Island Records, Chris Blackwell. It took 5 years to get through the court system. And that's how I learned the music business, by suing that. It took me 5 years. We got to the High Court, 1 day in court, actually, and then they made a settlement. And that money I used to launch my music.
What was the basis for the lawsuit?
Infringement of copyright.
Okay.
Infringement of copyright. What we're going to talk about today.
Quite timely.
Quite timely. And so all over the years, I've, of course, worked a lot with copyright issues and management contracts and stuff like that. So that's basically my history when it comes to music. Yeah.
Okay, so today, as I mentioned earlier, you're owner of a label, Dance Beat Records.
Yep.
I've known you for a number of years, interacted with you at various levels throughout the industry, where I've seen you at the various talk shops, etc., etc., etc. I know you go back and forth to Europe. You've got, is it in Holland? You've got
Sweden.
Sweden,
yeah.
You've got, what do you have, the contracts over there with the band, etc.?
Okay, before I came to St. Kitts, I moved from England, I moved to Sweden and to continue my managing Swedish bands.
Okay.
I was basically managing Swedish bands and bringing in Afro-Caribbean musicians into Sweden. Actually, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. So I was the go-to person if you were a reggae band or Afro band and you wanted to play in Stockholm, Sweden.
You had to go to John Francis.
Yeah, so basically.
And your label was?
It was Dance Beat then.
Still then? Wow.
Yeah, I started.
I thought it was something more recent.
No, I set that up. That's been going since 1989, actually. And then, so if you wanted to tour, I had contacts with all the big gigs, all the carnivals. So I worked with all the reggae artists. I took Bunny Wailer to Stockholm. Worked with Gregory Isaacs, with all of them.
Are you still thus active today?
I got out of that business. I think I had enough of that. So I thought, when I first started promoting concerts and festivals in Sweden. I was the first ones to do that. Then other players came into the scene, and I thought, well, it's time for me to get out. So then I came back home to St. Kitts, and I wanted to go to the root of music and where it came from, where it originated. And I'd been coming back to St. Kitts, to see my family and attending carnivals and stuff like that. And I was actually based in Barbados at first, and promoting artists in Martinique, in Guadeloupe. I did and exporting Caribbean music into Europe as well.
There are a lot of folks who would have seen you around, pardon, those active in the music industry, but not exactly how immersed you are, exactly what you do. So for a lot of us, this is an education.
It's the first time I'm actually talking like this.
Really?
Actually.
Okay.
I think it's about time we put the record straight. Because a lot of people see me on the street.
Because I'm saying, I myself, I'm getting an education. I know something about you, but not you were that accomplished. And that was established with the bands that became popular under your management. You mentioned Steel Pulse. Okay? So what exactly prompted you to be on the show today? In the early days, when Echo was launched, I was asked to be involved in that, which I was. This was before I was asked to help set up Echo here in St. Kitts, and I did. I felt I had to jump off because very quickly I sort of developed a reputation that wasn't mine at all. People started saying, almost threatening, basically, that I'm ripping people off. Really?
I'm taking their money. I have no rights to collect money from people and stuff like that. I thought I didn't want to be involved in this.
Well, did they understand what was involved in joining a collective?
Well, I think the problems were coming from the licensors. The people who have to pay, not really the artists. It was the people who need to pay for the license.
Okay.
So I felt an education need to happen. You need to educate people.
Did that happen? Did you have that dialogue with
I started some copyright workshops, which I did on my own steam. Went to Sandy Point a couple of times here in Bastille, and started talking to musicians about their copyrights and how they need to protect their copyrights. So I jumped off the management. So I thought the only way really I'm going to affect any change is to have some rights myself, and when those rights are infringed on, then I can address it. Be on the outside and telling people what they should do. I thought that's pointless. So I have a publishing catalog. I have about 1,000 songs on my publishing catalog, and for me, like. Echo don't collect for me here because they're collected in Europe, and so I thought, when I've signed an artist here who has rights to be protected here, then maybe I can get a dialogue going.
Okay.
But the events of late now has kind of changed that a little. There is people are constantly infringing on copyrights, and
big time in St. Kitts Nevis.
Absolutely.
And there's some artists who don't really mind because they think they need the exposure, the airplay. So even though they are told that you have the rights, the radio stations, the DJs at various functions should not be playing your music unless you're paid for it, etc., they don't mind. Yeah,
I mean, you could run 100 meters better if you don't have a donkey on your back, You can't say, well... They say the radios are promoting your music, and
that's the way to look at it.
Well, it's not really. They
don't really value.
Well, the music, when the radio station is a revenue source, they're no longer promoting your music. That's a revenue source. They're the ones to pay, not to say, I'm going to promote your music. Yeah, you're buying my music.
Carnival time and St. Kitts.
Yeah, here we
even
go
from
now.
the Calypso tent, those guys who are going to record the tents, etc., take those recordings to the radio stations, and everybody enjoys the music, etc., except the artist. Well, he don't enjoy any revenue from it. He's happy, he or she is happy to get airplay because the songs become popular, and that is that's a culture that we sort of adopted.
Yeah, but but that's where education comes in. Like, you know, a woman would know a guy who has a hi-fi, and she'll say, "Could you run off a couple of tracks for me?" Yeah, and the guy would copy it and give it to her, and get $5, $20 on it. But it's illegal. It's an illegal thing to do. I mean, it's the same as some people don't realize. It's like somebody coming into your house. You know, you invite them in for dinner, and they decide to walk away with your cutlery, your silverware. It's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
Well, you tried the education. You tried getting the artists and the public at large educated. How has been the reception to that?
Well, that hasn't worked. Not for me anyway. So I jumped off.
Okay.
But I think it's the dialogue needs to be addressed again, because we've moved into a digital world now, where there's no what's the word?
Is it more difficult to monitor?
It's easier to monitor, much easier to monitor.
Okay, because they playlist in the various radio station per shift, so you can actually monitor how many songs we play for my artists. That's part of the shift, and then at the end of the month you collect.
Well, in the digital world, to get a track on iTunes, you have to give it what they call a meta tag. It's a meta tag. Every track that's on iTunes is being tagged. And that tag, it's the name of the track, the writer, the singer, the publisher, the arranger, sometimes the studio, the producer, everybody is on there, it's tagged. And it's possible, you know, through data control to know exactly the fingerprint of each song that goes out. So then it's easy to track.
That's where you would come in?
That's where everybody works. That's the standard everybody works on. And with the new technology that's coming, with the blockchain is coming, some people have heard about.
I heard about blockchain. I have no idea what it is.
That's going to make it much easier as well. So it's something that's going to come within the next 2 years.
Okay. We are talking to Mr. John Francis, producer, label record owner, and we're talking corporate issues. He's sharing with us some of his vast experience in the music industry. We do have to pause for a break now for more sponsors, but when we come back, we'll do some more specifics. And I think there's some callers anticipated after Mr. Francis would have made his presentation. So stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste. Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Class, it's that time of year again to get everything you need for back to school. Go to the TDC Home and Building Depot in St. Kitts and City Drugstore Nevis Limited or shop tdcgroup.com. Shop and get deep discounts for all your school essentials. Backpacks, notebooks, pens, pencils, school bundles, computers, and more. While you're there, be sure to donate to Shop and Share to help the less fortunate and stay ahead of the grade. Oh, and don't forget, Flash Sale Fridays. Now that you know, class is dismissed. See you at the TDC Home and Building Depot and City Drugstore Nevis Limited. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Once again, good morning. You're logged on to Voices on WinFM 98.9, and we have in the studio with us Mr. John Francis, and we're discussing some copyright issues, other issues related to the music industry. We are expecting a call from Mr.
David Hines.
David Hines, and he's from
Steel Pulse.
Steel Pulse.
Yeah.
Sir, are you able to make the connection? We are standing by for a call from member of Steel Pulse, and he's online. So good morning, Mr. David Hines. Welcome to WinFM Voices.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program. So how are you doing?
Well, you tell me. I just woke up for this. I'm not sure what time zone you're in because I was told it's going to be some kind of a Caribbean thing, and I'm calling a USA number, so I'm discombobulated right now.
It's 11:23 a.m.
All right. Where I am, it's 9:23, so at the moment.
Well, have you had your coffee?
Not yet.
Okay, here's what. John Francis spoke to us about you connecting with the program. So I'm going to let you speak with him direct and educate us. We totally have a lot to share.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, David. Hi, welcome. Hail.
How you doing, John?
I'm here. I'm in the studio here, educating and trying to promote copyright issues here in the little Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. I thought it'd be really nice to bring an artist's point of view when it comes to publishing, and to also talk to somebody who people might know about. So I thought Steel Pulse, I know the guys, and maybe you can talk to artists about the importance of publishing and getting your songs published properly. Yeah.
Well, and I say that when it comes to the artist, that's the last thing the artist knows is about publishing.
Yeah.
Knows everything else, every card in the book, every arpeggio on the guitar, you name it. When it comes to the musical aspect, business-wise, especially publishing, the artist is the most ignorant.
And of course, that's the area where the big money is made. Actually, at the end of the day.
Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's what you have left to give over to your children and your estate is publishing. Correct?
As they would say in French, exactement.
Exactement. So tell us about the companies that you've been working with on the publishing side, and the recording and publishing side. Just a little bit about that.
Well, I heard you sort of glaze over, not in a negative way, but in a positive way, throughout the time, the Island Record situation. So that was our first experience when it came to the publishing aspect that we knew nothing of. And we signed contracts unbeknown to how the whole rudiments of the business went, and foolishly signed away our lives in a sense, where the percentages were totally inaccurate and one-sided. And, one was focused thinking that it's the record sales when the actual record is in the shop selling at the units, 100 copies, you get so much. That's where the money's really at, but the money's also very much so in so many ways in the publishing.
The ownership of the copyrights, basically.
Ownership of the copyright, yes.
Yeah.
So, for the whole publishing thing is that you become part owners of the songs that you've written. Today, where did that come from? All of a sudden, you're sharing your songs and the several hours creating it, with someone else who most oftentimes don't know you from a can of paint. That's what happens.
How do you feel about people who copy your music on tapes and giving out to family and friends and even selling it? What's your view on that?
The view is there's very little you can do about it at times unless you got a special agent or you're a particular size of an act that can afford to chase people up that do that. As you know, Jamaicans, the Jamaican reggae industry had a tendency to do that in a very big way. A lot of the songs that we heard back in England as kids were actually cover versions from a lot of American artists. And back in the day, these acts were unknowledgeable to what was going on in places like the Caribbean and certain parts of the world where their songs have been copied by various other types of musicians, and the musicians themselves are profiting. Art point where the artists now said, all right, I'm selling hundreds of thousands of copies, and that little artist over there in Jamaica is probably selling about two copies of whatever, very little. It doesn't make much difference to me to chase that up. But over time, these acts started to sell a lot of records in their own region, in other regions as well, covering your song or covering my song, or whoever. And that's when people start to act upon the acts that are copying the song. So you find out Jamaican artists now either has to turn in himself and say, look, I've copied your song, or doesn't make an attempt to do it at all because, people that scout out there looking for artists that are copying songs. But that was not so many, many years ago. But today, you can't just copy a song like that and get away with it.
No.
Not so easily.
What about the copywriting songs that you play live? We know that's another part of the copyright business. So let me speak to the audience. When an artist play live at a festival, at a concert, money is also generated there as well. Or
yes.
Then when you go out and you play in a festival or a carnival, there's money to be earned then. What advice do you give to musicians who play live?
Well, the only advice I give to musicians, what normally happens when you do this, there's a like a program of some kind where you got to write in songs that you've written or the songs that you perform that night. And as a rule, venues between the promoters and the artists and the artist management, these songs are submitted as to what was performed that night, and everybody gets their residuals based off it. So my advice is to the artists is to make sure that happens, because it's all part of the money that you get outside of performing literally on stage. I mean, it comes through, as a check, in the post. That's what I'm saying. So it's all about staying on top of it. Your PRS, the ASCAPs, and all those outlets where they pay you according to the songs that you performed.
Okay, one last question then. The people who play your music, we're talking about radio stations, shops, hotels, and things like that. Give me an artist point of view about that.
You mean like a radio DJ that plays your
music? Where the music is played live out. Not live, sorry, recorded music played in hotels, at bars, people who are playing your music.
Even in parties, private parties.
Private parties, yeah.
Well, I could only imagine that, all those kinds of people are supposed to be, like I said, disclosing what they're performing, what they're presenting, playing, whatever format it is, to the governing bodies that show you how that generate the money that are necessary to give back to the artists, to having their music played in public.
Well, that's what I'm attempting to do, which listeners, is to inform, educate, whatever you want to call it, how important it is that copyright does exist. It's not like it's nothing you can touch, but it exists. Intellectual property is important, and
most important. And we're in a period of time now, John. I mean, you touched on something that happened 40 years ago, and we're in the middle of trying to reclaim or have a better percentage rate on the actual songs that were copywritten and published and the whole 9 yards, with the labels that we sort of battled with in the past. So it's all reclamation time, and we're acts from our genre, from our generation, where a certain type of period of time has subsided, where one can come back to the record label and say, look, we wrote this song so many years ago, we want our songs back, copyrights to our songs back, or we want a better interest or a better percentage than what you gave us 35 years ago. Now, what we're dealing with now, and this is where gentlemen, guys, whatever you want to call, or thing like yourself, can play, you know, a valid part in making this happen. We're trying to get the copyright back, but the labels are telling all the acts that they can't get them back. But they can renegotiate. So whatever the rate was, if you're getting 10% of every record or every copywritten song, now they're going to probably put it up to 20%, which still is not enough, but in most cases it's going to be better than nothing, since they've made this rule of thumb that they don't have any intentions of returning songs copywritten 40 years ago.
Socrates?
So it comes down to be knowledgeable about what you're signed to. A lot of artists are desperate to get on the big labels that they don't read the fine print, which is designed not to benefit them.
Exactly. And they don't realize that the big labels, all the big labels were at the time and still are, they're just banks, nothing else. And to just say, oh, you don't have the money to do this, well, we're going to give you this, but it's exchange for that. And you're not. And oftentimes, all one needed to do was just sit back and just generate the money themselves and just go the whole 9 yards. But it was back in the days when we were starting out as an upcoming reggae band. It was glamorous to be on a major label, especially in our particular case where we were on a major label. And guess what? We're standing next to Bob Marley because he's on the same label too. Oh, look over there, there's Bernard Spears. How do you do, Gregory Isaac? Hey, Jacob Miller, what's happening? And it was that kind of thing. It was one, quote unquote, happy family. Happy family, my ass.
But not dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And they're the case where many of the artists want to be their own managers. It doesn't work that way.
Well, everybody's tried everything to try to remain afloat within the industry. And back in those days when artists wanted to be their own managers, the record labels weren't having it. They were saying, no, we want someone who's because a lot of times the artists will not know the ins and outs and the rudiments of the industry. So there's times, in all honesty, where the artist will approach labels with a very ignorant approach, or an approach that can be aggressive, and it's all to do with them not really understanding the industry. So oftentimes the labels would want to up or stay away from acts that want to manage themselves and go out there and represent, and try and get a representative manager that, where they could talk to one person as opposed to 6 persons in a room that have got conflicting views within themselves as well, and the whole 9 yards. So there's been so many different ways within the industry where one wanted to approach, and trying to get a better grip of how things are. And then you got the other side of it where management themselves were, when you're thinking management was on your side, it was the complete opposite. You look and, there's a hole in your bank account because the manager there was there.
Like the percentage.
Doing what he could do. Yeah, so it was all that kind of stuff. It was like one big jungle in those days, and one didn't know who to trust. And, never said it to you, John, but I'm going to say it to you now. I mean, back in those days, you guys, you had a team, and your team was really unprecedented, because since then I've not seen or heard of any, set of guys in England that have had the goals and aspirations that you had at that time. I mean, we fast forward 40 years, and there's still nobody with that Tamla Motown version of, reggae, or Tamla Motown version of black music in Britain. I mean, it's still not there in the way it should be. Wow. And at that time, I think because John was so far ahead of the game, nobody believed him, is what I'm saying. So that's what really happened to John and his team at that time. He had goals and aspirations that were promises, that were positive and could have happened. But he was like a man walking on the moon. And, you know, it was like an oddball. So nobody followed that and started trying to go in an area where they thought worked every time, not knowing that area was all about skullduggery. So that's where...
it was about exploitation.
Maybe, yeah, and maybe John's English accent had a lot to do with it as well. Because, you know, at the time, all them times that we were chanting down Babylon, so anything that sounded English...
Here comes English.
we were yeah, you know, especially a black man with that English accent, and he had two other guys sounding exactly the same. We're saying, hey, what we up against here? We went right... We turned from that, went right back into the lion's mouth. So that's what happened. I never said it to you, John, but I'm saying that's what happened. That's what happened, basically.
It's wonderful. No, you know, John.
We were absolutely naive at the time, you know, 100%.
Well, let's try and turn the table so that other young people don't make the same mistake or similar mistakes.
Right.
You know,
right?
Because because music, or the recorded industry, the creative industry, I personally believe it's our ticket to the future in the Caribbean. We don't have raw materials, we don't have oil. We have some land, but the land is not big enough. You know, what we've got is our human capacity, and there's a lot of us, and we have a lot of talent. And I think that's our future, and intellectual property is the way forward for us, you know. Okay.
I think it's important for a person like yourself, David and John, to mentor the younger talent. And if the opportunity arises again that you're going to have a similar program and dialogue, I would very, very, very much love to have you being part of that program.
Yeah. Thank you, David.
Yeah, thank you there, John.
And this is David from Steel Pulse.
David Hines.
From Steel Pulse, who worked with you back in the day.
Yeah.
And now he's saying that he didn't really appreciate what you were doing for them back then, but now he sees by your accent who has worked against you. Okay. We have to take we have to go downtown and give Caesar his due. When we come back, we're hoping we can hear from Adrian Lamb before the midday hour, okay? So, Mr. Engineer, please take us away.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drugstore's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Buster, roll it up, need the thirst quencher in my cup. If you have one, hold it up and say, Buster put the colors in my life. Refreshing and nice, and I drink that what we like. Buster, you're full of vibes, living for the color. And I'm black and white, we do what we like. We live to enjoy life. Buster, pour it up, different flavor. Load it up, If you have one, hold it up and say, Buster put the colors in my life.
Welcome back to Voices, and we have with us this morning in the studio Mr. John Francis, producer, publisher, owner of a record label called Dance Beat, and we're discussing issues of copyright. He just had Mr. David Hines from Steel Pulse on the radio. We're hoping to hear from Mr. Adrian Lamb before the midday hours. Mr. Lamb, if you're standing by, please give us a call. We'd like for you to make your input on this discussion. The lines are generally open, but we want to give Mr. Lam a chance to get in on the program. So, in the meantime, John.
Yeah, here we are again.
Yeah.
I think I touched briefly on the potential of copyright and the way forward for us in our Caribbean, our Caribbean future, our Caribbean economy. I think there were some figures put out from Jamaica that the creative industry generates, I think, 7% of the GDP.
Really? For the region?
Yeah, but only employs 2% of the population. So there's a disparity there somewhere. You create, that means there's room for a lot of employment. If you contribute 6% and you only have 2% working in that, there's a lot of work to be done. So there's a lot of money, a lot of salaries to be paid.
But it comes down to the management, to proper management.
Well, put it this way, if you've got a situation where you're generating so much money but not employing less people or proportionally less, it means that money is going away somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's not going where it's supposed to be. So if you can have a situation where you employed 6% of the population and earn 6% of the GDP, it means that the economy is spinning. Mm-hmm. Now, if piracy is going on,
money's going somewhere.
Money's going somewhere.
Not to the artist.
Not the artist, and not to the industry. I mean, if you have a situation where an artist is earning good monies, he's buying a house, he's employing cleaners.
Yep.
Is that Adrian?
No, not yet.
Okay.
We're standing by to get a call from Mr. Adrian Lam. We got about 40 minutes to the midday newscast, so we would like to hear from Mr. Lam. Monarch, if you get a chance, join us. Navigator, he's also in tune, so we have a lot of creatives up there who are listening and commending the program. So, yes, Mr. John Francis, producer, let's take this call. Caller live on Voices, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, King, and good morning, John.
That sounds like Monarch.
This is Monarch. I've been listening to the program, and I think it's a real timely program, considering some of the events from that just recently happened during the election campaign, as it relates to songs and music and publishing and copyright and eco. I am a proponent. I can't say how I even got involved in knowing about copyright and publishing, especially publishing. But recording back in the 1980s, I joined up with BMI as broadcast music industry based in the United States, yes, New York, and somewhere in Tennessee. And it's very, very important because my experience was I'm signing up not expecting anything to happen. But I received, just like David Hines said, I received a check in the mail for music, for my music that was played in different places. So that's very important and very instructive as well. When I realized, along with a friend of mine, Francis Gavaya, an attorney in the States, when I realized that, we had big bands, big music, the 70s and the 80s, and it eventually was found out that apparently these guys didn't own any of this music because they didn't publish it. Somebody else probably did.
Correct.
And own the music. So they didn't earn the money that they deserved to earn based on the fact that either they were naive, didn't know, or people kept the information from them. Of course, I've worked with John, and in different aspects, and so I'm pretty much aware of it. The last thing I'm going to say, because I know you're waiting on a call from Adrian.
Yes.
One of the things that really disappointed me during the campaign, and especially now on the back end of the campaign, where it seems as if that everybody is happy to be pushing for this guy from St. Vincent, or the writers from St. Vincent, the owners of the material, for the song that Labour was playing to get rid of them song. A lot of people are pushing for that. However, I don't think we've ever had an elections with this much homegrown music involved in it. And nobody's pushing for a license or payment for the local guys. I mean, I'm amazed. I'm really, really, really amazed at that.
Here's a question.
So this education is necessary. And I hope that, local promoters, producers, and also the artists get a hold of this situation so that they can start making whatever was theirs. I was manager at ZIZ, and I had an initial conversation with Iku. Had I continued on, ZIZ would be probably paying royalties right now because, when you're wearing multiple hats, you need to make sure that the hats match so that you can be criticized on one end
I hear you.
and, praised on the other.
Okay, former manager, I hear you loud and clear.
Yes, I was very happy to see.
Guys,
Oh, sorry, you there, Monarch?
Go ahead, John.
No, thank you very much, Monarch. And I think you've opened up the next part of the conversation about the election and the use of music industry suppliers. I was very happy. I didn't get any contract. I must say that nobody asked me, but no problem. I was happy to see so much stage designs, sound systems, jingles made by local artists. It was amazing, and I'm very happy that the industry, St. Kitts music industry, it started. It jump started. You remember those old cars that you used to put a crank in and you crank it. The industry went crank, and it was great to see. I've seen all these guys setting up these platforms for the politicians to do their bit. And I hope they got paid really well. But it seems like the big money is going out to St. Vincent, But as you said,
not only St. Vincent, we had a lot of foreign artists brought in to perform. We had the Skin Fabulous, Judy Boucher, etc., and I'm sure that none of the local artists got paid close to what else got paid.
All that is copyright, It's all copyright. When an artist get up and sing, he's presenting his copyright, and he's presented copyright in many ways. He's doing it live, and he's doing it recorded, and he might even perform it. So it's interesting. That other people came and took the lion's share.
There you go.
But it's working, and it lets us to know what we really need to do.
Mr. Adrian Lamb, if you're there, please give us a call. We're standing by to hear your contribution. You know the numbers. Adrian, know the numbers. 4660989, 6620989, and of course we have further field. I must thank Mr. Carlton DuPont. He gave me. He just called me, said, I need a campaign song. I did it for him. He was the only politician who called me and gave me a chance to produce doing the campaigns. So I made a little change.
You made a little change. As I said, I was very happy to see everybody. As I just said, hope you guys sent your invoices.
Well, I got paid cash. And DuPont, of course, because he calls. Let's see if this is Ms. Lamb. Call your live on voices.
Pleasant day, Sakuti and Mr. Francis. Richie Bunting.
Richie Bunting, talk to us, sir.
Yeah, now you mentioned something just a while ago about the disparity between what you think the local artists got and the foreign artists that came for the campaign.
Yes, sir.
Now, I do understand that we ought to pay our artists well. But however, we should not make the mistake to make the comparison. Right? Because it's all about an artist's stock. For example, let's use the average artist out of Jamaica that is fairly big, right? A big one. Their pay is nowhere close to, let's say, like a Fantasia, right? The biggest Jamaican artist is not close to, and Fantasia is not the highest paid. So I just use that as a benchmark, right? So you cannot really expect beyond what your worth is.
Bunton.
You understand?
Bunton. I said they were not playing anything close. That's what it said. And my point is, you cannot expect your artists to grow when you keep bringing in foreign. You have to believe in your own artists, grow them, invest in them. That is how they'll be able to perform at that level.
I totally understand that, and I'm for all of that. I am for all of that. But at the point, in other words, any one of us, the average artist in singing, if you put the average artist in St. by himself to headline a show in St. Kitts, he's just proven time and time again. Hardly anybody comes. I'll give you the perfect example of that. In the 80s and 90s, when Monarch and they used to come to New York, every year, Monarch, Star Shield, Ranger, all them, and I'm not dealing with the bands per se, I'm dealing with the solo acts, right? After a while, promoters decide, you know what? It's a waste of time and money bringing those artists because those particular artists are not bringing anybody in significant based on what I'm paying them. They're not bringing in anybody in the crowd to cover the costs that I'm paying them for. So a lot of those artists stop coming to New York annually like they used to.
Let me ask a question.
And it was just because our people just wasn't going to them shows to support.
Let me ask a question, Bunton. Yeah. Who promote the Jamaican artists in the St. Kitts?
A Kittitian promoter.
Of course. Our DJs play more of the foreign content, so the local artists don't get that support. They don't get the popularity. So if you don't get that, they can't go there and perform at that level.
But you gotta remember.
You have to support your own and build them up.
This is what I mean by that. There is nobody in St. Kitts that does not know any major St. Kitts artists any less than they know foreign artists.
But they don't play the music. They don't support them.
No,
that is why they're not as popular as the other artists.
Listen to me. There is no major artist in St. Kitts who is less known than any major artist overseas in St. Kitts, known in St. Kitts. So it's not about the popularity. They are popular enough. But as big as their popularity are in St. Kitts, they are not generating the interest of the populace in St. Kitts to come out. But
nobody in Trinidad plays St. Kitts music. Nobody in Jamaica plays St. Kitts music. Nobody in Grenada plays St. Kitts music. St. Kitts play everybody's music and make them popular.
Well, you see, can I come in? Richie, let me come in here a little bit. Let me come in. Richie, let me come in a bit. Let me come in a bit. Let me come in a little bit. Every country that I know about, Europe and America, there's a quota of the amount of local music that's played, okay? We don't have it in St. Kitts. If you go to Europe, you go to England and you turn on the radio, you will not hear more than 40% of foreign music played on the BBC, okay? I'm talking about national stations now. Of course, the small FMs, they have a different way, but the major national broadcasting stations. In Sweden, it's like 70% of the music is Swedish. It's got to be Swedish, and it's by statute. It's not by law. It's a statute that is made between the publishing, collecting societies and the radio station, because they know it's a rule of thumb. They know that if they promote local music and they pay local musicians their deeded publishing monies which we're here to talk about. If they pay that, they know they're planting seeds. But where am I saying, Richie? They're planting seeds that's going to grow. We're not planting the right seeds in St. Kitts. That's the problem that we have. What you're talking about now are management issues. It's the management of music, which is different to the publishing of music, which is different to the production of music, and different again to the distribution of music. Every one of these aspects of the music industry is a discipline on itself. In St. Kitts, we confuse the whole issues. Nobody knows the difference between publishing, production, management, distribution. We all bundle them all together. And then we expect to have an industry. We expect to suddenly have a Ministry of Entertainment who's going to solve that problem for us. But
we need to start to focus. We need to start focusing on getting the music beyond our borders. That is where our focus should be.
No. You're complete. This is why I wanted to come out from the undergrowth and come out up and start talking. Time is going. Okay. The thing is that there are things to do before. You cannot join a race unless you train yourself. Okay. And the problem we have in St. Kitts is that we must understand how the music industry functions. And I'm telling you, nobody has a clue on how the industry functions. You understand me?
I disagree with that. That nobody knows the clue.
They don't know the real professional, the professional aspect.
We are inculcated in a specific manner, and we have not been able to transcend beyond our inculcation of how we do things.
This is why we're having this discussion today.
People know.
This is why this discussion. Listen, when you have artists like grandmasters, let me quote some names now, and Small Axe and New Vibes, our three prominent bands, are taking other people's songs. When you hear them put Bon Jovi into their tracks, okay, and you put Eddie Grant into their tracks, and that's two of the bands, and putting them out there and record that, and then release that stuff and put it out on the radio, you're in total infringement of copyright. You don't really know.
Bunton. Richie Bunton. We do have to break right about now for the midday newscast, so we have to continue this afterwards. So I have to cut you. Apologize for that, but we do have to honor our program, so we don't break at this point for the midday newscast. John, we'll be right back after. Okay.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission.
Think before you bin it. There can be some use in it. The St. Kitts and Nevis Solid Waste Management, in collaboration with Taiwan ICDF Technical Mission and the Department of Environment, presents Let's Recycle. We are encouraging all residential homes, commercial businesses, and schools to bring along your plastic bottles, metal cans, and aluminum cans, ready for an opportunity to win big. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every second and fourth Tuesday each month at the following locations in St. Kitts: the Connery Roundabout, every first and third Tuesday at Buckley's parking lot in front of Best Buy, and the last Saturday of each month in Dead Bay. In Nevis, every second and fourth Friday of each month at Delta Petroleum, Ex-Petrol in Camps, Big Six in Gingerland, and Old Artisan Village in Charlestown. But wait, that's not all. 1 pound equals 1 point. So bring your recyclables and build up your points for a chance to win stainless steel thermal bottle, flatware set, and much more. To learn more about the recycling project, do visit our Facebook page at Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis, or contact us at 465-2372. The choice is yours. Save it or waste it. You are the difference. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low reputation and service. or 469-5303. DLU Walwyn, people you can trust.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the WIN headline news, I am Devon Cornelius. In our headlines, Dr. Marcus Natta to serve as Cabinet Secretary and 2 District A Magistrates Court relocated to the former Glengove building at Fortlands Basseterre. Across the region, St. Lucia continues on path to make CCJ final court of appeal. U.S. reports spike in weapons smuggling to the Caribbean, and the CARICOM youth urged to take up opportunities in agriculture. Internationally, Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan charged on the Terrorism Act, and Mexico's former Attorney General arrested over disappearance of 43 students. The details of these stories straight ahead. Dr. Marcus Natta has been appointed Cabinet Secretary for the newly sworn-in St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration, SKNLP. This latest development was made public via the SKNLP's Facebook page on Monday, August 22nd, 2022. Congratulations to Dr. Marcus Natta on being named the new Cabinet Secretary. Natta succeeds Miss Josephine Huggins, who has held the post for the last 7 years, the Facebook post said. Dr. Natta recently held the post of Science and Research Manager at the St. Kitts and Nevis Bureau of Standards. A graduate of Newtown Primary, Basseterre Junior High and Basseterre High Schools, Dr. Natta excelled at his studies during his elementary and secondary education. In December 2002, he graduated from Cameron University in Oklahoma with dual Bachelor of Science degrees in physics and mathematics. During his tenure at Cameron, Dr. Natta became an active member and served with several campus organizations and university committees. These included the Student Government Association, in which he served 2 years as a senator for the physics department. He also helped found and later served as president of the Students of the Caribbean Alliance, SOCA, an organization that is still in existence today. Dr. Natta earned his doctoral degree in the field of chemical and materials engineering at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, UNL, in August 2008. At UNL, Dr. Natta was a member of the University Graduate Council and the Graduate Student Association, in which he served as Vice Chair of External Affairs. He was also Vice President of the Black Graduate Student Association. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party was returned to office following the August 5, 2022 general elections. Two of the three District A Magistrates' Courts have a new home in the former Glen Cove building at Fort Lance, Bastille, in the vicinity of the War Memorial and Fisherman's Wharf. Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs, Honorable Garth Wilkin, stated that he is pleased that the new District A Magistrates' Court complex will become fully operational on Monday, August 22, 2022, so that the backlog of cases which piled up since the closure of the Sir Lee L. Moore Judicial and Legal Services Complex in early June 2022 due to a mold infestation there can be resolved. He added, I toured the complex with the senior magistrate on Wednesday, August 17th, and was pleased with the setup, especially the provisions made for parties to check in and wait in a covered, cooled seating area with bathroom facilities until their matters are called by way of a telecom system. It's a modern complex, comfortable for the magistrates, the staff, the lawyers, and the clients, a contemporary and considerate way of facilitating the administration of justice. Senior Magistrate His Honor Reynold Benjamin said that the new home was well needed and will assist the court in dispensing justice speedily. The staff will feel comfortable here, and I see them working at optimal levels in this new location. The location will greatly assist with our current backlog of cases. Since the mold was discovered at our previous location, we had to abandon the court, so no cases were tried for the past 2 months. So we have a backlog, but I am confident that now we will be able to handle all of those matters. I would like to thank the government for getting a building. Getting an ideal building was very difficult. We tried several locations and we could not have found a location better than this one, said Senior Magistrate Benjamin. He said that significant work was done in an effort to renovate the Glen Cove building in the soonest possible time to allow the two magistrates' courts to resume functioning. The new complex is outfitted with all the necessary amenities and spaces needed for a court to function. We have the facilities, we have the infrastructure needed for us to deal with any case that may arise. The location is very quiet, much quieter than downtown. We do not have many vehicles passing up and down, not much noise from the public or loud music from events in the square. We have little to no disturbance up here. It is very quiet and conducive to court operation. You almost do not feel like you are in a court because the environment feels so friendly, he said. The two District A Magistrates' Courts administered by His Honor Reynold Benjamin, Court Room Number 1, and His Honor Fitzroy Eddy, Court Room Number 2, will be open from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. All other magistrates' court administrative matters will be dealt with at the new complex, and His Honor Benjamin indicated that in the next 2 weeks, cash will be collected at the building, including the payment of traffic tickets. The new building has a covered external waiting area, external bathrooms, court cashier room, exhibit room, storeroom, kitchenette, internal bathrooms, holding bay, administrative office, magistrates' offices, and court offices. Her Honor Magistrate Donna Harris will continue to sit in the single District A Magistrate at the Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton Annex, located at the East Independence Square, Bastille. In regional news, there are many interesting and viable opportunities in the agriculture sector, and the Caribbean Community CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett is encouraging the region's youth to get involved in the sector. Speaking at Friday's opening of the Agri-Investment Forum and Expo in Trinidad and Tobago, Barnett said the adoption of smart agricultural practices will allow Caribbean youth to utilize their skills and knowledge to help modernize the sector. There are excellent opportunities in this new agriculture. Smart agriculture goes beyond planting and growing systems that incorporate new technologies. There is a growing demand for online platforms, extension apps, agriculture marketing apps, drone operators, data analytics, and crop forecasting apps, just to name a few. This is an opportunity to say to our young people, get involved, she said. The opportunities in the agricultural sector are there to be taken up, and there are gaps which you as young people can bring your new thinking to in order to create a new further opportunities for yourselves. A CARICOM study found that agriculture is a key source of employment in many Caribbean countries, accounting for approximately 16% of the overall employment in the region. But the human resource capital to work in the sector is lacking in many places. The CARICOM head said she is elated that regional leaders are taking steps to remove barriers that prevent the cross-border employment of agricultural workers. The theme for the meeting was transforming agriculture through innovation and investment. Barnett said the theme is fitting as embracing technology is vital for the CARICOM members and observer states as they seek to reduce food imports from external sources by 25% by 2025. St. Lucia continues its journey in making the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, the country's final court of appeal. The government made the announcement for the historic move during the opening of the second session of the 12th Parliament, after which a committee was established to facilitate it. Several islands in the Caribbean left the Privy Council for the CCJ as their final court of appeal. They are Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and Guyana. Prime Minister Philip J. Pear on Monday told reporters St. Lucia has written to the Privy Council indicating the island's position in leaving the organization. We had to write to the British to ask them to leave them, so we wrote to them and we are awaiting a response which I understand is forthcoming, Pear said. In March 2022, President of the Trinidad-based CCJ, Justice Adrian Saunders, expressed disappointment in the failure of Caribbean territories who remain hesitant in making the CCJ their final court of appeal. After 43 years of independence, Prime Minister Pear says it is time for St. Lucia to demonstrate confidence in regional jurists and the CCJ's ability to provide fair, equitable, independent, and affordable access to justice. The CCJ was established in 2001 and is based in Trinidad and Tobago. The U.S. government announced that it is putting measures in place to stop the trafficking of weapons to the Caribbean. Anthony Salisbury, Special Agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations, HSI Miami, along with Department of Homeland Security DHS partners, made the announcement on Friday. HSI and our partners will investigate and seek to prosecute any individuals involved in illegal arms trafficking, said Salisbury. We make it very clear that the United States, and in particular South Florida, is not open for business regarding the illegal trafficking of weapons. Salisbury said HSI has seen a substantial increase in the number of weapons, caliber, and type of firearms being illegally trafficked. Some of those weapons include .50 caliber sniper rifles, 308 rifles, and a belt-fed machine gun. In the wrong hands, these weapons could cause mass casualties, he said. Guns trafficked from the U.S. have been linked to a surge of gang-related and reprisal murders in the Bahamas this year. At least 88 murders were recorded in the country this year, and most of the victims were men on remand for other murders. Measures to stop the flow of illegal weapons include extra resources being placed into the Border Enforcement Security Task Force and increased inspections of U.S. export shipments to ensure compliance with federal laws. Agencies are also leveraging information developed from investigations and partnerships with foreign customs officials and police to target shipments and individuals that may be engaged in smuggling. We now bring you these international reports.
The former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has been charged under the country's anti-terror laws. Let's take a moment to look at the man himself and how he first rose to and then fell from power in Pakistan. His cricketing career gave him a huge profile, with the highlight coming when he led Pakistan to victory in the 1992 World Cup. After retiring from the game, he entered politics, forming his own nationalist party in 1996 and being elected to Parliament in 2002. The popularity of his PTI party slowly grew, and in 2018 he became Prime Minister. But in April of this year, he was thrown out of office in a vote of confidence. And these film pictures we've just seen from his home, filmed late last night, suggest he does remain popular too. Analysts saying his political success underwritten by Pakistan's influential military and intelligence services, but his removal was inevitable once he lost that support. Whatever the reasons, it remains the case that no Prime Minister has ever completed a full 5-year parliamentary term in Pakistan. Lots to talk about with Talat Masood, who is a defence analyst and former Pakistani military general. He joins us now live from Karachi. Very good to see you. Do you believe these charges against Imran Khan are justified?
Well, I think they are somewhat exaggerated. There is no doubt about it. But it is also true that Imran Khan at the moment is in a very combative mood and is not prepared and is prepared to take on every institution and is not abiding by any of the rules which are supposed to be imposed on every political party, in the sense that you have to take permission in order to have a gathering. You are not supposed to sort of criticize the military in a way that he is doing. He is also criticizing the judiciary and the bureaucracy. He is, in fact, taking on the entire establishment and has become extremely controversial. Although he has a huge following, and I think there is no party which stands in comparison to him in terms of his popularity and the amount of people that he can gather at a very short notice. And so the conditions in Pakistan today, as it is, you know, the economy is in a free fall, and at the same time, the politics is so disturbed. And our relations with India, too, are not all that good. So considering all these factors, I think we were expecting that the political leaders, both the ones which are in power and those which are in opposition, would be conducting themselves in such a way as to dealing with these problems more seriously rather than fighting amongst each other.
Very good to get your thoughts. Talat Masood, thank you for joining us.
Now, the authorities in Mexico have arrested the man who was serving as Attorney General when one of the country's worst human rights atrocities took place. Jesus Murillo is accused of forced disappearance, torture and obstruction of justice in relation to the case of 43 student teachers who went missing 8 years ago. Tim Ullman has this report.
Even in a country steeped in violence, this was a crime that shocked the nation. Dozens of young men heading to a demonstration in Mexico City who simply vanished. All that was ever found was a few bone fragments from 3 of the student teachers. Now the man who was, at one point, ultimately responsible for the investigation into their disappearance has himself been arrested. Jesus Murillo, Attorney General under the former President Enrique Peña Nieto, had already faced criticism for errors in an earlier inquiry. He had blamed police and the drugs cartel, but not the armed forces. Now he faces charges including torture and obstruction of justice. This comes only a day after a new Truth Commission, set up to investigate the disappearance, pointed the finger of blame at military personnel.
Que la desaparición de los 43 estudiantes de la Normal Isidro Burgos Ayotzinapa.
The disappearance of the 43 students constituted a state crime, said Alejandro Encinas, the head of the commission. A crime which agents from various state institutions participated in. When the current president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, took office 4 years ago, he promised to uncover the truth about what happened. Now, more than ever, he still wants justice to be done.
Castigar a los responsables, pues ayuda.
Punishment of those responsible helps to ensure that it does not happen again, that such regrettable acts do not happen again in our country.
For the families of the missing, the pain of the last 8 years has been unimaginable. They will hope the truth is now closer than ever before. Tim Allman, BBC News.
You were listening to the WIN Headline News. Let's recap our top stories. Dr. Marcus Natta to serve as Cabinet Secretary, and 2 District A Magistrates Court relocated to the former Glengove building at Fortlands Bastille. Across the region, St. Lucia continues on path to make CCJ final court of appeal. U.S. reports spike in weapons smuggling to the Caribbean, and the CARICOM youth urged to take up opportunities in agriculture. Internationally, Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan charged on the Terrorism Act, and Mexico's former Attorney General arrested over disappearance of 43 students. I'm Devon Cornelius. Thank you for listening.
That was the WIN FM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Bastille in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine,
or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Think before you bin it. There can be some use in it. The Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority, in collaboration with Taiwan ICDF Technical Mission and the Department of Environment, presents Let's Recycle. We're encouraging all residential homes, commercial businesses, and schools to bring along your plastic bottles, metal cans, and aluminum cans, ready for an opportunity to win big. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the following locations: in Nevis, every second and fourth Friday of each month at Delta Petroleum, ex-Petrol in Camps, Big Six in Gingerland, and the Old Artisan Village in Charlestown. In St. Kitts, every second and fourth Tuesday at the Connery Roundabout, every first and third Tuesday at Buckley's parking lot in front of Best Buy, and the last Saturday of each month in Deep Bay. But wait, that's not all. 1 pound equals 1 point. So bring your recyclables and build up your points for a chance to win stainless steel thermal bottles, flatware, and much more. To learn more about the recycling project, do visit our Facebook page at Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis, or contact us at 465-2372. The choice is yours. Save it or waste it. You are the difference. So think smart. Take PAT, reduce, reuse, recycle.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Here are your Horseless Value Mart IG Value Club Blue Tax Specials from August 11th through 24th. Downy Fabric Softener, $23.99. Essential Everyday Chocolate Chip Cookies, $12.99. Sweet Baby Ray Barbecue Sauce, $9.99. La Yogurt, $2.99. Egg Waffles, $13.99. Ajax Dish Detergent, $4.99. And now, our very low weekly value deals. Old Orchard 100% apple juice, $9.99. Bugles or Chex Mix, just $9.99. Peter Pan peanut butter, $10.99. Tropicana Punch juices, $7.99. Arm & Hammer deodorants, $8.99. Stone Ridge ice cream, $18.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
Good afternoon to our viewers and listeners. Welcome back to the second half of today's episode of Voices. We are discussing today with Mr. John Francis and other industry professionals the whole issue of copyright infringement, which brings us to an issue that took place within the Federation a few weeks ago, where the U.S.-based St. Vincentian artists, we learned, sued the Labour government for his song that was being used during the campaign, unauthorized. They didn't get the permission to use it, and so there's a legal matter brewing. So it brings to the fore the whole issue of copyright infringement. Any feedback on that, Mr. Francis?
Yeah, it goes to show that the people are prepared to protect their copyright. and that there are instruments available for people to protect their copyrights. There are lawyers who will take on the case, and then there are also remedies for people who break copyright or infringe on people's copyrights.
We're also standing by to hear from an industry professional in Dominica. His name is?
His name is Mac Mary.
Mac Mary, are you hearing us? We would like to get your input on this whole matter of copyright infringement.
Maybe he's coming on. He's in Dominica.
He's in Dominica?
Yeah.
Okay, he's in DA?
Yeah, he's a music business professional for many years. He was the actual PRS agent who was responsible for going collecting the money for PRS and their members in the OACS. And also the original chairman of ECHO.
Okay, so he's immensely poised to give us his expertise, his opinion on the whole issue, because PRS and ECHO are both collection agencies on behalf of artists.
They're called collective management organizations, CMOs. CMOs are legally entitled bodies who are instruments to collect fees that's owed to people, to licensors and licensees, owners of copyright. For example, the radio station that we're sitting at the moment, you are supposed to log all the music that you play, and then the monies should be transferred to the owners of that music. And so there are bodies called CMOs whose job is to police that and to collect.
Has the environment been created here in St. Kitts Nevis where it's almost like nobody take that aspect of the industry serious because we're constantly playing music on the radio and nobody calls to get their percentage? The artists, most of them here, especially on Carnival time, are very happy to hear the music aired on the radio, so they don't really follow up. They're probably not properly registered. And so that may have led to this atmosphere of, okay, it's a song, I can hear it. It's from St. Martin, St. Vincent, we can just play it without getting the proper authorization. Is that what have happened in this case?
One could say that, and one could believe that as a good argument, but in reality, that's not what's really happened. Because what's happening today is what's been inherited from the British system. For example, the ZIZ, it's a kind of a copy of the old BBC. Yeah.
We have a call. We hope it's the call from Dominica. Call, you're live on Voices. But the caller, you're live on Voices. Okay, we're standing by for a caller.
Yeah, there is. That's Mac. Hello, Mac.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes, yeah, I'm here, right.
Okay, let me introduce you, Mr. McMurray. From Dominica. We have sort of introduced you a little bit. You might have heard that. So welcome. And tell us about your work with the PRS. Tell us work with ECHO. You can tell us briefly, in brief. You can tell us also about how you have protected your copyrights of your artists and litigations that you've gone through to protect those rights.
Okay.
And so you can inform the people a little bit.
Okay. So let me start with PRS. I have been the agent for the Performing Rights Society since 1981. And I was responsible for licensing public performances in the OECS, including St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, BVI, Dominica, St. Lucia, Montserrat. Okay. In 2010, I became the chairman of ECHO. ECHO was established in 2009. In 2010, I became the chairman of ECHO, and I remained in that position until 2016 because we have term limits. You can only have 3 consecutive terms of 2 years. So I stayed there for 6 years, and the revenue of ECHO grew consistently under my chairmanship.
Congratulations.
And in terms, I would say, in terms of legal action, I think I've taken more than 40 legal actions against music users.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that. Tell us about how that works, because at the moment there is some conversation here in St. Kitts. Tell us a little bit about your work in Dominica.
So a person who owns copyright in a musical work has many rights. It's not just one right. One of those rights, which is an important right, is the right to perform his music in public. But since that is, as you would understand, a complicated thing for each person to go about trying to give permission or policing the public performance of his own works, since 1851, they have formed these societies. The first one was formed in France in 1851, that acts on behalf of all songwriters. And since then, there have been lots of societies formed in different countries. At the present time, there are more than 200 such societies. The members give the society the right to collect monies on their behalf from music users. And they collect the money and the information about which songs or pieces of music were used, and the songwriters then get paid from their society. So technically, if my song or your song, John, were played in Japan, Japanese society would be the one that would have collected the money, and then they will identify you as being a member of STEAM, and if you're still a member of STEAM, and the money would be sent to your society, which would hand it over to you. In the case of the persons who are in ECHO, it would be sent to ECHO, and ECHO would then give you your money. So there's a network of societies all over the world, which essentially means that the society, that's in this case St. Kitts, that is responsible for giving public performance licenses, would give a public performance that would cover all the music that it's responsible for, which would be the members of ECHO itself, including those in St. Kitts, as well as the members of any similar organization anywhere in the world. So that the radio station, for example, doesn't have to go to each composer or music publisher to say, I would like to play the license from ECHO, which allows him, or the radio station in this case, to perform any music that is protected in St. Kitts by ECHO with a single license. And then he pays a fee according to the amount of revenue the station generates.
Called a blanketing deal.
Has the obligation to give the money to the right owners. At the present time, ECHO knows.
Hello. We may have lost connection with the caller. Is he still there?
No.
Oh.
I think what he was explaining was these reciprocal deals that each society has around the world. So when grandmasters get a hit or being played in Japan, their monies will be transferred.
With BMI, so I think there's a deal with ECHO that I should benefit from. And it was Francis Gavaya. Monarch made mention of him some time ago. He signed me with BMI about 1992 thereabouts. About 1992 thereabouts.
So as a musician, you must, it's in your interest to get your music properly copyrighted. So when you in the studio and you record a track, say if you and I were in the studio together and you did the words and I did the music, we have a paper that we both sign, just a rough piece of paper that said that I did the music and you did the text. And then you have that. And from that paper, you generate a contract. And then from that contract, you then generate a license.
To maybe a performer, for performing rights.
Absolutely. And then you do those metadata information I spoke about before. We know the writers, the song title, the producer, and that information is embedded in the music. So wherever it's played, every radio station is played, that information is picked up, and then you get your monies. So therefore, when you have a situation like we spoke about previously, where where musicians are using other people's music or other people's text or other people's beats in their new songs they're creating, they're obviously infringing the rights of someone. So you cannot have a situation where we hear it at the moment where a local band, comes Christmas and he's recording a calypso or a road march song, and he starts it off with a Bon Jovi lift or a bridge. That's totally infringement of the copyright, totally infringement. And if he does that, he can be sued.
Exposes himself.
Yeah, to be sued.
Yeah.
And in the same way that if somebody took the song, like what we have at the moment with the political guys, is that if they just take a song and then use it, without it's called a public performance part.
Right. Yeah.
What we're talking about up until now was the recorded version. Okay, when you record it, that's one right. The next right is the performing right, of that. It's the
performing license for that song to be performed in public.
Yeah. So everywhere you hear music, everywhere that music is played, there should be a license. There's only one place that you can legally play music, and that's in your home.
Not for commercial use.
Or in your car. That's the only place. Anywhere else where music is being played, it's being broadcasted, there is a rights, and there are rights that can be infringed.
So let's bring it down to the DJ, the DJs who are playing in these various night spots, venues, etc.
Yeah.
Every track they play, they should be paying.
Absolutely, every track that's played, and that's that money. What should be happening is that the DJ should leave a log to the owner.
So, let's say the nightclub is owned by John Jones. Who do the collecting agency go to collect? From the DJ or from the club owner?
The club owner. The club owner, when he sets up a club, he's supposed to go to ECHO and say, I have a club and I want to sign to ECHO. You know what I mean? Because ECHO has a right to come back to him and say, you have a club? Show me the list that you of the
list of it, yeah.
And so then we can then log it and put it into our system. Yeah, it's the same with hotels. It's the same with hairdressing salons,
weddings,
banks, weddings,
private parties,
everywhere. It's called.
I attended a wedding on Saturday on Carcassonne Beach, and of course the DJ is belting out all the romantic songs, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Who manages him?
Well, the hotel is the one who's supposed to do that. Because
it's on the beach.
On the beach.
It's on the beach. Commercial beach, no established place there, so he gets away with that.
It's really not really, because he as a DJ, he should understand how it's supposed to work, and he's supposed to have a log, and he's supposed to send to. Let me see how it works with DJs. There's not a DJ collecting society that I'm aware of. On the beach, that's a good question.
Yeah, because the question comes down to enforcement.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Who enforces or polices, right? Should there be a registry of DJs? That's the first question. Should there be a registry of qualified DJs?
Of course.
And then you take it from there.
From there, absolutely. That's another way of doing it. That's how it's done in the UK. Yeah. You take a situation of, say, a big hotel like the Marriott. Marriott pays ECHO. For sure, they pay ECHO. Because I believe in their accounting system, there is a portion within the accounts that's assigned for public performance of music and license. So they will pay their whatever thousands of dollars a year to ECHO.
We've got to take it to Caesar, give him his due, and come right back. This is very interesting, and I hope the people in the industry are actually listening and paying attention and making decisions as to how they want to go forward with this. To the Mr. DJ.
It's that time of the year again. The time when Horsewood Furniture and Appliances gives away millions in cash back for free groceries with every FlexPlay purchase. Never-ending cash back for the past 25 years. SL Horsewood and Company Limited, Horsewood Furniture and Appliances Showroom, Ashley Furniture Home Store, in collaboration with Value Mart IGA, has given customers millions of dollars in cash back for free groceries with every hire purchase in their never-ending cashback. Yes, the Horsewood's Cashback Free Groceries annual program and promotion is the biggest and longest running of its kind in the Federation. Come today and get cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries in the never-ending cashback promotion. Yes, happening now. Get cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase. The never-ending cashback is back at Horsewood's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Home Store, where you get cashback coupons for free groceries with every FlexPay purchase. Never-ending savings, never-ending discounts, never-ending quality and service. It's the never-ending cashback. Don't miss it. Terms and conditions apply.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Voices. We're standing by to get we're connected to Mr. Mac, who's calling from Dominica, an industry official, and we have. Okay, so are you there? We're just standing by to reconnect to. Okay, we're standing by. Okay, check. Is it there?
Good afternoon.
Okay, welcome back to the program.
Good afternoon, King.
Yes, this sounds like Mr. Biff Mills. Go right ahead.
Yes, I've been listening to the program. Very interesting and very timely, I must add.
Okay.
And I thank you, gentlemen, for bringing these facts out. I am not too certain too many of our entertainers really know much about this, the expectations and their obligations. I think they take a lot of things for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side of it, the establishments, hotels, restaurants, bars, what have you, I am not certain at all that they too know much about it, what is expected. And hence the education. I know Miss Jihan Williams of the IPO and Miss Grace Richardson of ECHO. I know they've been throughout the Island Various Forum discussing it.
John has been doing this for years.
Yes,
John has been doing this for years, so it's a matter of choice. They don't want to know.
Okay. Well, you're right, because you could always lead a horse to water and it chooses to drink or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it, however, the policing of the system, any system is as good as the policing of the people implementing it.
Mm-hmm.
I am not certain to what extent it is done and how it is done and who is responsible. I know I've heard stories where persons from ECHO, they show up at an event, Socrates having a bring your glass and come party up at the floor grounds, and they show up and they sit down and they make tally of the songs, etc. Well, Socrates, this is the playlist. So whether or not the DJ produces it, the ECHO participant does that and submits a bill per se. And we have, you were right, John, you mentioned the situation with the song Out to the Windwards. And I think there was even some issue with the music festival and royalties outstanding, etc. for this year. So these are the kind of things that the persons, the artists, and the managers, I might dare say, they need to be involved with and conversant with and advise their teams and be supportive of them. But I think this is an excellent program, and I compliment you guys on it. And I don't believe we could ever have enough of such programs like this.
Well, I hope Don is listening. I would like to have him back some other time to discuss this. At least once a month we continue discussion because it's to education. Yeah.
That's a very good idea, King. Well, all the best, gentlemen. Thanks a lot.
Beautiful. Thank you. Is our friend from Dominica. Caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome. Hello, caller. You're live on Voices.
Yeah, well, this is McCarthy Mary calling back.
I'm happy to hear you. Okay,
Good.
we're connected.
We're happy for that. Mac, sorry we lost you just as we get into the meat of your contribution. I want you to explain to us a little bit. Don't give us too much detail, but so to embarrass anybody, but just enough to let us know your involvement with how you, the litigations that you've been through and how you've had remedies that you had to seek to protect the copyright owners in Dominica.
Okay, well, the process generally starts off by contacting the person and explaining to him that they need to have a license to put on their event. If they don't take the license and they do put on the event, then you would write to them again to say, even if they didn't take it before they had the event, you are offering it to them ex post facto. And if they ignore that, then you put it in the hands of your lawyer who will write the letter before action, which usually says within 2 weeks or a month or so, please act properly, failing which we will file a case against you for copyright infringement.
Could you give us some examples of when you've done that? Could you give us some examples of when you've done that in Dominica? So you can put it in everybody's language.
I'll give an example where, yes, I can give it to you. When the South African game was held in Dominica, it was the first big game at the new stadium. The Cricket Association decided to have post-cricket entertainment, which involved lots of music played by WCK, in fact. So we contacted the organizers to tell them that they needed a license for that. They didn't take the license. So instead of waiting for them to have the event and then suing, we decided, in discussion with me and the lawyer, that it would be a better idea to ask for an injunction. So the afternoon at 3 o'clock, the day before the event was supposed to start, we went to the High Court and asked for an injunction to stop the performance of the music at the stadium.
Wow.
Yes, and the injunction was essentially granted. Did a similar thing with a concert organizer was having Bunji Garlin and his wife perform in Dominica, and we went to the court at 3:30 of the day of the concert to ask for an injunction to stop prevent the organizer from putting on the concert, because the judge granted that injunction as well. Yes.
That's powerful. Stop them before they even.
Yes.
So you're anticipating they're going to play X amount of material?
Yes, before they played any music at all. They just essentially told them that they ought not to perform any music
without getting the license.
The repertoire of the society without its license.
Wow.
And if they did so, they would of course be infringing. So they had a choice. They could ignore the judge's orders, which would then leave them open to a charge of contempt of court, for which the judge could then put them in prison for a week or so or whatever. Or they could get the license.
I think people don't.
That's a sequence of events that can happen.
Of course.
And it's important that the public know that copyright infringement is a serious crime. It's in the same category as, you might say, burglary, etc. You are stealing another person's property to which you have no right to use it.
I think we
and in point of fact,
okay. I think
most of the licenses, the fees actually quite modest. I
think we kind of frightening the people a little bit But I think we just to put a bit of sugar on the thing is that if we do this thing correctly, we are keeping monies in our area. If we play the percentages of local music, if we protect the rights of writers, you'll find that the money will stay in the region, and the money will create its own economy. It would circulate. But the way it's going out now, it's like if you have a leaky pipe in your house, the water's going to disappear.
Right. But I would think and say, well, in terms of the quantum of money coming in and going out, is that we have a bit of a problem. Just as we have a bit of a problem to produce anything in large volumes, we also have a problem to produce music in large volumes. So by default, we will always have some amount of, what we, for lack of a better word, we'll call foreign music being consumed in our territories. Our job, I would think, as the government and the society, etc., is to encourage local production as much as possible, so that we have more output, and output we might say of a better quality, suitable for different occasions. Because part of our problem in the OECS in particular, not so much in Jamaica, is that our output tends to be centered around Carnival. But since Carnival is not a year-round activity in each island, the interest in Carnival-centered music diminishes after the Carnival period, whatever the Carnival period is. I know in St. Kitts is around Christmas time. In Dominica, it's just before Ash Wednesday, so it's in Trinidad, etc. In Barbados, it's in summertime, so it is in Grenada, in Antigua, etc.
Yeah, but let me jump in there again. Let me jump in there again, Mac. Yes and no. Yes, the music is released at Christmas time in St. Kitts, or in your time it's Lent. Right. It's released then. But the bands are playing all year round. The bands are having parties. Right. The music is being played on radio. It's generating money, so the songs are released in that. But of course, if the music is being pirated, if people are not paying their levies for the tracks after Carnival, then it seemed to be only a seasonal thing. But it's not. I mean, I was at my bar yesterday, and I'm playing some tunes, and somebody says, a local person says, could you bring up the tempo? Let me hear some grandmasters. And we're in August. It's local people want to hear their music. They do, and they're prepared to pay for it. But we have got to seal up those areas where the money is flowing out.
Here's a question, Mac.
Right, but I would just point out, of course, that we also want to export our music. So it wouldn't be entirely, if you like, fair to say, you don't export your music to my market, but I must export mine to yours.
Yes.
So, and then, as I was saying, like, there are occasions where, kind of, if you like, carnival-centered music, which is the dominant sort of music that we put out, isn't suitable. For example, if you're having a wedding and so on, you might have dancing at the wedding, for which the carnival music might be suitable. But then you're going to, for example, when the bride and groom take the floor to dance, it's usually in a fairly mellow song, of which you don't produce many. If you follow.
Yeah, but then that goes back to the management and production, which is another conversation.
Right.
Quick question for you, sir. Got a quick question for you. Sorry to interrupt.
So there's that situation there. So we should, of course, consume as much of the music that we produce as possible, and we should pay for it. But without the artists getting compensated, they can't keep on producing. And the compensation comes in different forms. If the person performs at an event, you pay him a performance fee. But the person might be singing my song, so I must get my
compensation as well, which would be collected through ECHO or similar organization, depending on the country you're in. So everybody gets their share in different ways. And I have to say something. I've done a number of seminars up and down the Caribbean, including doing them for judges and so on there. But the people who come to the seminars are generally all on the artistic side, musicians, some photographers now and then. But the people who own radio stations, who are users,
they don't come.
cable operations, and so on, are concert organizers, very rarely show up to these events at all. You know, with the result that their knowledge of what is expected of them is very, very low. So then they then find themselves being asked to pay fees and then threatened with copyright lawsuits, and then they're all confused. Whereas, for example, I remember doing something in Grenada where they were introducing a new law into Grenada, and the only person who was, might say, a user who was there was a gentleman from the University of St. George's, who actually had the title of Copyright Compliance Officer. So to prevent the students from plagiarizing books and passing them off as their original work, etc. That was his job. He was there. But nobody from the broadcast industry or even the newspaper was there. You know, so and when you are there at the time when the law is not yet the law, you have an opportunity to make an input into what the law finally is.
Okay.
You know, but if you simply stay away and say that's musicians' business, then the law will be passed as is. Might suit musicians.
Okay, sir.
Might not suit them as much as.
I've got a question for you, if I may. Are you hearing me? Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, do you have a national cultural policy in Dominica where you must play a certain percentage of local content?
No, there is no such thing. But Dominica is kind of unique in a sense that we do produce a lot of music, and we don't only produce music, as I was saying, from Carnival time. We produce a lot of music around Independence time and World Creole Music Festival time, which is a different flavor from the Carnival music, because we speak Creole and English. So at Carnival time, most of the songs in Calypso and so on will be in English, and around, getting on now, from now till, say, October, there'll be a lot of songs that are in the Creole language, which is a different style of music, like what they do in Haiti and Guadeloupe and Martinique and so on. You know, so we do have a lot of that there. And I saw a study that was saying that Dominica was the country basically that played the most of its own music.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so there isn't that same outcry on the part of musicians and performers that their songs are not being played adequately on the radios. Well, one performer might think so, but he will be more tempted to say they're playing my competition songs more than mine. But the competition he's talking about is another local guy.
Okay.
Thank you, Mac.
Rather than a foreigner.
This is a gentleman with years of experience, and I think he has a lot to share. And I think when we actually get a movement going, we have to invite him to sing kids.
As I was saying, in Dominica, I think we've sort of led the way in terms of filing lawsuits. We've filed lawsuits against lots of people, who are people abroad and local companies like telecommunications companies, etc. I know have been sued for making advertisements without permission of people's songs. Yeah, prominent companies, and they've had to pay the owner of the song.
Okay.
Much more than they would have been if they had asked permission. It usually turns out.
Okay, sir, thank you very much. We do
But
appreciate
do
that.
but
We do have to go to our station break, though.
Across the Caribbean,
Mac,
especially in the OECS,
Mac,
a lack of
the
legal talent in copyright areas. Yes.
Sir,
It's a bit of a challenge because if the radio station, for example, wants legal advice on what it cannot do with respect to copyright, they would natural place to go to is to a lawyer.
Okay, Mac.
But if the lawyer has
Mark, on that note, stand by for us. We do have to go for a station break. So thank you, but stand by for us, okay? We have to go station break. Thank you.
All right.
Here are your Horseless Value Mart IG Value Club Blue Tax Specials from August 11th through 24th. Downy Fabric Softener, $23.99. Essential Everyday Chocolate Chip Cookies, $12.99. Sweet Baby Ray Barbecue Sauce, $9.99. La Yogurt, $2.99. Egg Waffles, $13.99. Ajax Dish Detergent, $4.99. And now, our very low weekly value deals. Old Orchard 100% apple juice, $9.99. Bugles or Chex Mix, just $9.99. Peter Pan peanut butter, $10.99. Tropicana Punch juices, $7.99. Arm & Hammer deodorants, $8.99. Stone Ridge ice cream, $18.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
It's that time of the year again. The time when Horsewood Furniture and Appliances gives away millions in cash back for free groceries with every FlexPlay purchase. Never-ending cash back for the past 25 years. SL Horsewood and Company Limited. Horsewood Furniture and Appliances Showroom. Ashley Furniture Home Store in collaboration with Value Mart IGA has given customers millions of dollars in cash back for free groceries with every hire purchase in their never-ending cash back. Yes, the Horsewood's cash back free groceries annual program and promotion is the biggest and longest running of its kind in the Federation. Come today and get cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries in the never-ending cashback promotion. Yes, happening now. Get cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase. The never-ending cashback is back at Horsewood Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Home Store, where you get cashback coupons for free groceries with every FlexPay purchase. Never-ending savings, never-ending discounts, never-ending quality and service. It's the never-ending cashback. Don't miss it. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices. This seemed to be a very hot topic today, John. This whole issue about infringement. We're told that the lawyer for Mr. Adrian Bailey, the Vincentian-born New York-based artist who is suing the Labour Party for the use of the song, the unauthorized use of the song during their campaign, is listening to the program as we speak.
Well, I hope you realize you can't mess with us, you know. We're professionals.
So I don't know his name, but the lawyer for Mr. Adrian Bailey, we're told is listening to the program as we speak. It's a very, very, very important program. And the fact that he's listening to what's happening on the ground here, how we operate and how this thing was allowed to happen.
I think he's probably a little nervous now because when he goes in and asks for a certain fee, you know, of certain price.
The lawyer's nervous?
The lawyer, yeah, well, yeah, because now he thinks that, maybe somebody else can come in and balance it out now. We can put up a good argument because lawyers, they like to try and get as much as they can for the artist. For example, with this case that's going on now.
$75,000?
Yeah. Okay.
EC, is it EC or US?
I don't know what it is. I just heard dollars. But if it was me, I would ask for US dollars.
I'm thinking for the impact it would have had on the election and the enormity of the whole thing. But they must know. They're the ones who have been paid, the professionals. But I'm glad that he's listening. If you want to call us and be part of this discussion, we'll be happy to have you. We have a call on the line as we speak. Caller, you're welcome to Voices.
Good day, Sakatu.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good. Greetings in Jesus' name. The only Savior of sinners from the sin and from hell, from the sins and from hell, and the eternal, second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, it's 3 issues I would like to bring up. Could you all speak? Well, normally, when I'm listening to this kind of program with copyright issues, what does be missing from it is the fair use.
Fair use.
Where you could play certain parts of a person's song or music without their permission, without the owner's permission. And I don't really hear that aspect spoken of when I'm hearing...
okay, that's one point. John will address that. What's the next point?
Yeah, the other point, the other 2 points quickly, I would say. I've heard that in order to sue a person for using your music, it have to be within a certain closeness of notes and that sort of stuff. Is there any truth to that, and can you speak to that issue as well? And lastly, I just see on the internet when people post in stuff and it contain like people music and say in the background, they just put up on the video, I do not own
the rights
copyright to this music. Does that carry any weight, and what does it mean?
I'm going to let John address those.
Issues.
Yes, I'll let John, because he's the consummate professional right here.
Okay.
So, John,
thank you.
Mike is yours.
Okay, fair use. There is no fair use. There's no fair use. When a man writes a song, it's like a baby. It's his child. You know, if someone wrote a song, the only person who has rights to that song is if a man records it, it's the person who buys that song and he plays it in his home. Anywhere else, the public broadcasting,
his home, his car for his personal use.
Cool. Anywhere else, it's public broadcast, and everybody else has to pay license to broadcast that. The fair use of somebody's music, there is none, because if you then go and play someone's music live outside, you're infringing somebody else's copyright.
Okay.
Then it says the closeness of the notes, whether it's
pleasure.
There are computer programs now that can actually monitor the beats and the notes and to see how accurate how close you are to the original of a track. So there is a mechanism in place to judge that.
Right.
And on the question about Facebook, is that
disclaimers?
The disclaimers could come about Facebook. If Facebook put out played somebody else's tracks on somebody else's. Okay, somebody has a Facebook page, put out a piece of music without given credit and paying, Facebook will get sued.
Okay. We may have a call on the line. But the caller, are you there? And Chris Collins says, give you regards in the meantime. Caller, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, this is Attorney Franklin Edwards calling from New York.
We were wishing and hoping, but there you are. Welcome to Voices. John Flash in the house. Speak to us.
I'm actually not calling to engage. This is a very timely conversation, and I'm so happy to hear it. It's one that's needed. It's way beyond how much is needed in the Caribbean in general. But I just want to address something you said that's incorrect. There is no lawsuit against the SKNLP, and that amount you quoted all of that is total fiction. None of that is true.
Would you like to repeat
quoted
that?
By someone who is not associated with any of the parties in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to correct the record. There is no lawsuit at
Against
this time, and that number is fiction.
So this would have been a news item.
I may address this with you at some later time, but at this point, we are not trying to discuss this specific matter on radio, on air. I'm very, very, very appreciative of the fact that this issue has been addressed. It needs to be addressed. I've been speaking about it for the last 20 years, specifically in my territory of St. Vincent.
Okay.
So you guys are doing a very good job in educating the people, because since this issue arose, I've been hearing a lot of stuff that really tells us that we are really seriously misinformed and uneducated as to intellectual property and copyright issues in the region. All right, so I just called for that specific purpose. Maybe I might be up, you can have me back on at a later appropriate time.
That would be so welcome if it can happen.
A specific matter.
Right? But I have a news item in my hand that spoke to what we spoke to publicly about the SKNLP being sued because we used the song, so that's a whole different debate. The gender saying there's no
lawsuit. I don't know who would put that out there. That's not true.
I have a news item in my hand.
See a lot of things we hear on the internet. People put up anything and everything on the internet, and some people go with it as a gospel.
This was actually read on the national radio station, radio TV station, as a news item.
Those are false.
Okay, I have to go to what you said, sir, because you're the attorney, you're the one involved, you would know exactly. But this is a news item read on the national radio and TV station. So go figure.
Well, I heard a news item. I can't remember it saying that there's a lawsuit. I don't know if it's the same one you're speaking of.
Yes, it is.
But we have not initiated any action against the government, against the party, sorry.
It says in a legal dispute. The headline said SKNLP and owners of the Get Rid of Them song in legal dispute. But the news item spoke in detail about the figure mentioned and stuff like that. But we take your word for it.
They got that from, but that's totally fictional.
I want to thank you for calling to clear that up for the public. And I'll be in touch with Nazi to get your digits so we can further have discussion. Of course, John Francis would love to be part of that discussion. So thank you very much for that, sir.
I'll be happy to have that discussion at the appropriate time, because this is a very, very important issue.
John, we're going to do this again.
Amazing.
It's fortunate that this particular situation has highlighted it, but it's something that has been lurking in the dark and that needs serious attention.
That's very good.
Caribbean specifically, because this is something old. I mean, copyright issues have been since the 1700s, and in the U.S. from the 1940s with ASCAP and BMI. We are now trying to catch up with this issue and understand it. We're way behind, man.
And it's an
excellent program. You guys continue doing the good work.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And you got his name right?
Yeah.
And your guest is going to...
Can we get your name one more time, sir? Can we get your name? I want it.
Franklin Edwards.
Franklin Edwards.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Okay, we heard it from the horse's mouth.
Fantastic. Fantastic. But at least there's a conversation.
There's a conversation.
That's what's important.
That's
what's important.
I want to break from the topic and deal with something very, very important. And come back to this because we're almost out of time. A couple of weeks ago, we started what I can call a wheelchair drive. Discussion with Sister Sylvan Henry. And she said she'd reach out to the public. And Junior Craig Hodge offered to assist with the 2 wheelchairs. He did, for a person who's in need of them. And that conversation developed to the point where I gave my number out for anybody who wants to assist people who, diabetics, double amputees, etc., with walkers, strollers, wheelchairs, etc. And I got a call from a Miss, I don't know if I called her name on the radio, but I spoke with her. She called me day before yesterday, and said she has a wheelchair. And she wants to make a contribution. And there's a chap in Connery, a taxi driver. Recently, he became a double amputee, so we're trying to assist him. Miss Cecilia Christopher would have called, and she wants to assist. So I made a connection. I gave her the digits to call the gentleman, so that's in play. But I want to thank her and anybody in the public who want to assist, what we call a wheelchair drive to assist the less fortunate, etc. My number, once again, is 662-0989. You can call me, call WinFM, call Sister Henry. I'll get your other number, and we can just make this thing work. But in the meantime, we have John Francis in the house with us, and he introduced we have a caller line. Caller, go. You're live on Voices. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Yes, I could come to say it quickly. Contrary to your host, right? Some countries, the courts have up.
Sorry, we would have lost that connection, but he was saying, contrary to what we said about the FHA laws.
The courts, then it went.
I don't know, we would have lost. You've got a chance, Greg, before we close things today. Try and get back on the thing, 662-0989 gets you heard. And yes, we got about 6 minutes before we wrap things up.
Yeah,
So if you want to,
it sounds like we're going to need some workshops and education. That's the key, but on both sides, from the artist's point of view and from the licensees' point of view as well.
Well, Chris Collins thinks that you're doing a wonderful job. So must tell you hi.
From the UK.
Yeah, he's in Sheffield. Tell me it's the best place in the world to live. That's what he said. What do you say?
Great.
Yes, Mr. Franklin Edwards would have called and cleared up this issue that we're hearing.
That was a good one.
It was a good one.
That was a very
surprisingly,
good one.
because there's a news item. Let's take it back to the phone lines. Caller, you live on Voices.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Voices.
Yes, good afternoon. What's the name of the gentleman who called in concerning from New York?
Franklin Edwards.
What is he, a lawyer, copyright?
He's a lawyer for Adrian Bailey. Is it Adrian Bailey? That was the chap who is the author of the song Get Rid of Them. And we heard live on the national radio station that there's a lawsuit where they're seeking redress for the unauthorized use of the song. And he's saying not to all so.
Fake news.
Because, if anything, he would have been the one who filed on behalf of the guy.
Based on what he says Mr. Franklin, just give his name there, Edwards, and he's the attorney for Mr. Adrian Bailey.
So he did not, nothing was filed against SKNLP concerning the song.
What he said, if he's representing who he actually is, he said there's no such thing. He's been hearing these news items or fake news, etc., and it's untrue.
I tell you. Interesting.
Did you see the news items that I said?
No. This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
I saw
I
it.
didn't get the name of this fella.
I saw it. Right? Let me see if I can play it quickly for you.
On the heels of election victory, the St. Kitts Nevis
I
Labour
hung up
Party
then, I
is
hung up.
being challenged for the misuse of Adrian Bailey and Company's Get Rid of Them song, originating from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. During the 2022 election campaign, at rallies, motorcades, and other party-related events, the SKNLP played Get Rid of Them for supporters. However, the Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, or ECHO, says the licenses for use of the song or any other songs played were not obtained. ZIZ News spoke with Vernal Doreen Francis, director of the Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, to get an update on the matter as it made the rounds on social media.
Mr. Franklin Edwards, he's a New York-based Vincentian attorney, legal counsel of Adrian Bailey and 3 other rights holders in relation to the song Get Rid of Them. He has been in communication with ECHO concerning the infringement of copyright during the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party 2022 election campaign. Now, Attorney Edwards confirmed with ECHO that permission was not granted for the use of the song, and ECHO also confirmed that a license was not obtained. So what this means is that compensation is due to the related parties. ECHO's role in this matter was really to verify whether the correct procedures were followed.
She said as Adrian Bailey is a member of BMI, ECHO can license the use of BMI's musical catalog.
It's important to note that Adrian Bailey is also the producer of the song Turn Me On, done by Kevin Little. And Adrian Bailey is a member of BMI. BMI stands for Broadcast Music, Inc., and BMI is a performance rights organization in the USA. ECHO and BMI have a reciprocal agreement which was entered into in January of 2009. And in that agreement, among other things, BMI has granted to ECHO the right to license the public performing right to all musical compositions contained in the BMI repertoire that are performed in Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, British Virgin Islands, Grenada, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The BMI repertoire is somewhere around 18.7 million songs.
John, there was no mention of a lawsuit?
There's no lawsuit.
Or figure?
There's no lawsuit.
So the gentleman is right.
Yeah.
They're in dialogue or whatever, but there was no mention of a lawsuit or of the figure.
Absolutely.
So Mr. Edwards is right.
Absolutely.
So whatever subsequent publication that came after this was where we got that piece of information that they've been sued and for $75,000. This is very interesting. It's been very informative.
It's a dialogue. It's a dialogue and it's a conversation. And that's what's important, I think.
And we're almost out of time, but of course, we want to thank Mr. Edwards for making that call.
That's good.
Which lends clarity to this whole issue. I am happy I was able to have that news item on my phone to play it. Now, it clears up a whole lot of stuff. There is something in dispute, but there's no lawsuit. There was no figure of $75,000 in that conversation that we just played.
Nothing at all.
Right? It's yours to wrap it up.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to sit here and trying to explain a little bit about publishing and copyright and things relating to artists. I hope that everybody listening understood. It's very complicated. I mean, don't be afraid if you didn't understand. But at least we have a conversation going now. And I'd like the establishments, the ZIZ, Win FM, the hotels and the bars and everybody else who perform music to fall in line and continue the discussion.
Okay, we have a text from Ms. Vanaldine Francis. She's the chair of ECHO, and she was trying to get in on the call, and she's also supporting the claim of the lawyer. No, it's not a lawsuit, but it's a legal matter. So for all the listeners out there who would have heard that the SKNLP has been sued, we are getting clarity from the persons directly involved that there is no such lawsuit in existence and no figure of $75,000. Exactly. On that note, we want to wrap things up for today. Hopefully, we can have this discussion at least once a month.
Yeah.
Get all the parts. We know Miss Jillian Williams have been out there doing some workshops trying to educate, but this was way beyond what we've had before. And you were able to get some regional professionals. You mentioned, call your name, I forgot.
There was McMurray.
Yeah, from Dominica.
And David Hines from Steel Pulse.
From Steel Pulse, yeah. And they were able to give their input to this very, very important topic. So all the creatives and around the region should be able to learn from that. But we need to arrange to do this at least once a month. Okay? Yeah. So Nazi, next time I hope you're here with us because you're one of the industry specialists, okay? On that note, we want to thank all the viewers, all the listeners who have made their various contributions to this program today. My name is Socrates, and hopefully see you on Friday for another episode of Voices.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA